Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? Just getting set up here. Just gotta grab my coffee and I'll be right back. Please bear with me. Sound check. Can you guys hear me clearly? Oh, shout out to Awake Souls, MJ Smith. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's get this chat started off here. Let me just adjust this sound a little bit. So today is November 7th, 2017. The time is 6:50 Central, and you're here with Event Skeptic for an impromptu chat. Tonight we're going to be going over some key things. Things that I think need to be addressed, and things that have been going over in my mind the last few days as I pondered what my next move would be in this whole truth-seeking game. Just sit tight here. I'm a two-man show, but we do the best we can with what we have. We don't have an Alex Jones team, supercomputers, and we do what we can with what we have, right? One sec, everyone. Hopefully everyone's having a good start to the week. We never know if this will be the last week. Definitely looking like the prophetic signs are still aligning and things are still happening. We got till the 21st for Still a Watchman's Rapture Watch. What's going on with my channel here? Come on. Everyone noticed that Richie from Boston, he got shut down and then he got turned back on. I think he got a strike, so he wanted everyone to sub to his other channel, so he threw false flags at himself. That's what I think. That's just my speculation. Let's see here. What do we want to go over? Does anyone have any thoughts or anything that they want to go over before we get this started? Mr. Smith, MJ Smith, Awake Souls, myself. We also seen World Made Flesh, Sean Ingen, music. Big shout out to all you for being here to kick this off with me tonight. I wish Stars or Souls was still in the Flat Earth. He was a great flat earther. Inspired me in the beginning. Truly did. Soundly. Soundly says that this is a hoax. Thanks, Soundly. So tonight I'd like to go over a few things. Cesar pointed out that we haven't been providing any globe debunks. So tonight we're going to go over some globe debunks. We're going to do a recap of Schillerism, liarism, dualism, Satanism, nihilism, deism, Jeranism, a shill exposed and finished. We're going to hit that up again. We're going to talk about part 2, definitive proof. We are not on a ball. Flat Earth maps are wrong and we are in a simulation. We're also going to look at correction to part 1 and 2 of definitive proof. We're not on a ball. We're also going to look at flat earth river proofs, okay? These are absolutely globe crushers. We're not messing around here. We're also going to look at a channel that was brought down by myself and the team Yahushai. We got Shill Stoppers. I'm going to give him a shout out. We're going to play a video tonight. We're going to talk about Math Powerland. He's still pushing this that he started the flat earth, blah, blah, blah. Now he's actually talking. He's actually talking about having Alex Jones get involved with his what's going on. Everybody, Alex Jones is now with the government. Okay? He is working with Donald Trump. So if that's not enough, to think now that Powerland is calling out other people as shills, like Truth Frequency Radio and ODD and a bunch of other characters, but he's willing to now go and work with the biggest shill in the truth movement. Once you wake up and you realize that there's many more conspiracies inside of conspiracies, you have to realize that Alex Jones is not someone here for the truth. Okay? He is a liar, a deceiver, and someone not to be trusted. And Math Powerland also supposedly thinks that that we can he's trying to say that we can cross Antarctica, or crossing Antarctica is going to prove that we're not on a... Oh, if he doesn't cross Antarctica, it's going to prove we're on a flat, infinite plane. But if he does cross Antarctica, he's going to try to pull some crap like we're on a ball, right? And we have in our model clearly shown that you can cross Antarctica. It's possible. Yes. G Plus is horrible part-time vegan. Horrible. Skype, call it CIAPE. And G Plus, you call it Freemasons round you up on their G Plus, right? I'll just keep this going here. Switch this music a little bit. Actually, let's get into a video here.
So what I want to start by doing is showing you that YouTube is censoring comments, and I'll give you proof of that right here. This is the YouTube view. You know, here's the video I just posted. Definitive proof we're not on a ball. Flat Earth maps are wrong, and we are in a simulation. And scroll down here. And so these are this is the public view of comments. Jesse King has this comment here, and there are no responses to it. All right, so that's one thing I want you to notice. And then there's Bill K here. He's got 2 comments. I have a response, and then there's nothing else after that. So what I want to show you is that this is YouTube's Creator Studio. This is the comments. These are the published comments, and this is for the video Definitive Proof. So I'm going to scroll down here, and you can see that Bill K has a response to my last response. This is not showing up publicly. He's not banned. Okay, this wouldn't show up here in the published comments if he was banned. So he responded to me, but it doesn't show up in public view. Let's scroll down here to Jesse King. Now here's the comment that he posted. Here's my response. This doesn't show up in the public view. There's even another comment down here. This one doesn't show up either. So YouTube is censoring the comments. So who knows, maybe after complaining about this in a video, my response will show back up in public view, But I want to go through this real quick because we're going to break some of this down. I'm going to show you a 3D model that I created. So Jesse King has 7 paragraphs here. I have 7 responses that match each one. He says the length of the day at the equator has got to be much longer on a ball. He's quoting me, no, take a ball and draw a dot at the middle and a dot near the top. Now spin it. The dots take the exact same amount of time to go around in a circle. Timeanddate.com. Yes, let's use a website that is based on and confirms daily spherical observations and predictions and create some bogus claim to pretend the Earth is not a sphere. How is it possible that everyone on Earth sees the sun rise at 90 degrees east and 270 degrees west at the equinox? That's a quote of mine. He says they don't. There's these cities here. He points out September 22nd, exactly September 22nd. These are the degrees at sunrise, and they vary a little bit. All observations consistent with current models. Even if you had provided any evidence that Model X and Model B do not explain how we see the sun during equinox, that has in no way gotten us any closer to the claim that we are in a simulation. No ad hominem here. I attack bad ideas and unsupported claims, not people. Okay, so my response is, take a ball and shine a light on it. At the equator, you can put your dot all the way at the full diameter of the ball. A dot that is visible, placed higher or lower of the equator, has to be closer to the center of the ball, and what I mean by that is center to the axis. Okay, and I'm going to show that in the 3D model that I did, what I'm talking about. It travels at the same rate, but a shorter distance. That website says every single city in the world has the sun rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west within a day or two. So I got a little typo there. Explain that. This is what timeanddate.com and similar websites say. I showed many examples. Do I need to do every single city for you, or can you look a few up yourself? You have chosen one fixed date to avoid considering that within a day or two, all the cities on Earth have the sun rising 90 degrees east and setting 270 degrees west. That's not possible on a ball or the flat Earth model. Now, I do recognize that the cities that are on the equator at the equinox will have the sun at 90 degrees directly overhead at solar noon, and cities north and south of the equator will have solar noon at varying angles. But that does not negate the sunrise and sunset originating and terminating angle conflict. This is a blatantly false statement. Explain how all the cities on Earth have the sun rising at 90 degrees east and setting 270 degrees west within a day or two. The ball model and flat Earth model are impossible. Simulation is a stretch, but I have connected many dots myself already and will be sharing these connections. Maybe you will not reach the same conclusion that I have, but without a doubt the ball model and flat Earth model as presented are dead. Thank you for sharing your thoughts without using ad hominems. That's fantastic. If a person can not use ad hominems, I'm going to respond to them. If they're going to use them, their comments won't even post. Now let's take a look at Bill K's comment. I want to just show his first comment. It says, your two-dimensional juvenile thinking should be an embarrassment to you. Do you really think that from all the greatest minds that have studied this for the past 2,000 years, your limited education has solved the mystery that isn't even a mystery? With the answer being that we are in a simulation, you can't just say the day lengths that we observe is wrong and then jump to the simulation without proof and evidence of said simulation. What absolute BS. I responded to that. And now here's the comment that he just sent, but it's not showing in the public view. He says, this guy took an internet definition of everywhere and assumed he meant everywhere at the same time. Let's contact the person who posted the definition and see if that's what he meant instead of just thinking what he meant was a flat Earth. And your flat Earth community continues to make up the idea that the sun can set in a flat Earth scenario while the sun is circling overhead above the equator. Either the flat disk is all in the sunlight or none of it is. With a single source of light over a flat surface, you can't have half of the surface in full sunlight and half in full darkness. Yet that is what we see on a daily basis. There are many other observed phenomena that can't exist on a flat Earth on a flat disk Earth, and no one has debunked them. They all run and hide, so the assertions made by this guy are just that, assertions. They must still prove that all the other observed phenomena can exist on a flat Earth in order for their assertion to be accepted, and they can't do it. They just assert more BS and move on. So what I'm going to do now is, like I said, I've got a 3D model that I made, so his two-dimensional juvenile thinking comment, let's move into 3D. I'm going to show you what it looks like in 3D. And this comment here, I'm going to show the first part, how he is totally off base in the first part, and surprisingly, I'm gonna sort of agree with his second part. So Bill thinks that I took an internet definition of the equinox and misapplied it somehow. So let's go back and do this again. We've got equinox definition. What I had read in the first video was this one from dictionary.com. Let's go down here to Wikipedia and see what they have to say. It says, an equinox is an astronomical event in which the plane of Earth's equator passes through the center of the sun, which occurs twice a year around March 20th and September 23rd. On an equinox, day and night are of approximately equal duration all over the planet. They are not exactly equal, however, due to the angular size of the sun and atmospheric refraction, blah 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 blah. But what the scientific community says and agrees upon is that on the equinox day, day and night are of approximately equal duration all over the planet. Okay, I wasn't misapplying anything. That is the accepted ball model. So this comment from Kelly White just came in, and the timing couldn't be more perfect because this is exactly what I'm going to cover right now. So that you can look back and you can check out this exchange between the two of us. But his response is, because the entire sphere rotates essentially horizontally at the equinox. Okay, and then he goes on to explain to me that I can demonstrate this myself. Take a ball, you can rotate on an axis, draw a mark where the equator would be, and another straight up north to where Alaska would be. Spin the ball on its axis. Do both dots move together during the spin? Do the two dots travel horizontally during the spin? Do the two dots appear and disappear from view at the same time during the spin? Let's address this now. Now let's be absolutely certain what the ball model is. Now this is from within the video. This is YouTube. This is the video I posted. This is the image that I used. I'm going to show you where I got that from. From Google, I typed in equinox. I went to images. It's the second image that comes up. Let's take a better look at this. This is the ball model. All right, this is the accepted ball model. Winter solstice, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, the spring equinox. We're coming up on the autumn equinox very quickly. And you can see that the poles on all four positions here, the poles are all pointing in the same direction. So the Earth goes from here where it would be, summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere, comes around here. It has the tilt. Okay, the Earth is tilted sideways at the equinoxes. That same tilt, the summer solstice, we have summer in the northern hemisphere, winter in the southern hemisphere. Here we are, look at this. It's tilted. All right, I built a model that matches this. Now let's take a look at it. So here's the 3D model that I made in SketchUp. It's not to scale, but it's going to help people visualize what's going on here. I have the sun centered in the four cardinal directions and the vertical axis. I have this laid out the same way as the diagram that we just saw in Google Images as far as the ball Earth model is concerned. I have the autumn equinox at the top, the spring equinox at the bottom, the winter solstice to the left, the summer solstice to the right. I have the 23. I did 0.4 degrees because that's the way I learned it when I first started studying the flat earth. I see they're saying 23.5 now, but it was 23.4 when I started researching this. And so I have the poles all pointing in the same direction as in that image. So let's drill down here a little bit, take a look at this. I'm going to zoom in on the autumn equinox, which we are coming up to real quickly. Have to get behind the sun here. Sometimes it moves slowly while I'm trying to get into position. Here we go. We've got the sun directly behind us. Now this right here is lined up with the celestial plane. So this is the center of the sun right here. That's what this plane right here represents. The Earth is at the 23.4 degree tilt. And you can see that. Look at where North America is. Look at where South America is. I have it lined up with what would be the equator. That's what's going to happen at the equinox, right? I have this, I'm just going to call it a plate underneath here. You'll see what purpose that serves in just a second. But first off, what I want you to notice is that the Earth is tilted at the equinox when it's facing the sun. So this is the equator. But let's take a look at his comment real quick. Because the entire sphere rotates essentially horizontally on the equinox. No, it does not. All right, let's go back to the model. At the equinox, it's at a tilt, 23.4 degrees. So first off, a compass, if you're at the equator on the equinox, the sun cannot rise. This represents, the celestial plane here. The sun's not rising at 90 degrees east and setting at 270 degrees west. You can see that right here. Okay, it's gonna be angles. So we know right now it's a lie. Timeanddate.com, the ball model, it says that it's gonna rise 90 degrees east. Our compasses are gonna say that, but the ball model, I mean, that's not right. Look at where this celestial equator hits. The Earth's tilted. That's what we saw in this model right here. The Earth's tilted. Okay, so it's not going to be horizontal.
Jason from Wake Souls, man, you're the best.
Did the whole putting dots on a ball thing right here, just like we had seen with Jesse King's comment. All right, take a ball and draw a dot in the middle. All right, so what was my response? Take a ball and shine a light on it. At the equator, you can put your dot all the way at the full diameter of the ball. A dot that is visible, placed higher or lower of the equator, has to be closer to the center of the ball. Well, I'm referring to the axis, the center axis. It travels at the same rate, but a shorter distance. Let's take a look at this. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this celestial plane, just to make this a little bit easier to see. I'm going to show you what this plate here is for. So the Earth is at the 23.4 degree angle here. This plate is at the same 23.4 degree angle. Now I'm going to show you what I was talking about. So right here, this is the equator. Look at that. That is the equator on the globe. I'll leave this here so I can point a few things out. This distance at the equator across here is the longest a day can possibly be. So it's going to start here, end here, or vice versa, whichever way it is. Now, if we take this and pull it up higher, look at how much shorter the distance is. All right, so let's get it up here by Alaska. Okay, from this point to this point is a much shorter distance. So even if the Earth is rotating at the same speed, the distance traveled is much shorter up here. That means a shorter duration. All right, so you can't have the same length day up here as you do right here. It's just impossible. But yet at the equinox, if you look at timeanddate.com or any of the other websites like it, the day is going to be of equal duration, not just at the equator, but everywhere. And once again, I pointed out that at this celestial plane here, for the sun to be rising at 90 degrees east and setting at 270 degrees west at the equator, that doesn't work with the ball model, even at the equator. And then to have all the cities on Earth within a few days, all having the sun rise at 90 degrees east and setting at 270 degrees west, simply not possible at all. So let me show you the only place on the ball model that the sun can rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west. It's at the solstices. All right, because of that tilt of the Earth that they have, they use that to explain the seasons. But that's the only time you could ever have the sun rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west. Let's get in here closer. All right. So here we are. I'm just going to show you quick. This has got the same tilt. There's the Earth at 23.4 degrees. So here we are with the sun to our back. Here's the celestial equator. I have it set at the Tropic of Cancer because this is showing the summer solstice. This is the only time that you would ever have the sun rising 90 degrees east and setting 270 degrees west, and that would be at the Tropic of Cancer. Any other place wouldn't have it. The same is true if you look at the Earth at the winter solstice. Now we have the Earth lined up with the Tropic of Capricorn, and this would be the only place that you would have, a sunrise at 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west at the Tropic of Cancer. Now this is during the solstices that would be the only time possible. You take a look at the equinox, it's blatantly obvious that with the Earth at that 23.4 degree tilt, look at that. You can't have it rise at 90 degrees east at 270 degrees west. Not possible. So here's another recording of the moon disappearing that I did this morning. September 20th, 2016. This was around 11 a.m. While we take a look at this, I just want to bring up Bill K's, the second part of his comment again, where I said I partially agree with it. The flat Earth model that we've been presented with can't possibly be right, because at the equinox here, we're going to have the sun rising 90 degrees east, setting 270 degrees west, everywhere in the world, and that's not possible in that model. And I've clearly shown here that it's not possible in the ball model either. Both of those models do not work. We're being lied to. It's our responsibility to figure out what the truth is. I'm going to be working on that. I believe this is a simulation. I'm going to be going into detail on that. I just wanted to clear up a couple of these misconceptions about what I've been bringing up, and just get us all understanding what it is I'm talking about right now, and then moving forward, start addressing the simulation theory that I believe is true.
Okay. Looks like we're going to be joined here. We're going to be joined momentarily. That was an amazing video. Give a round of applause to Awake Souls. Nobody has put in the globe killing proof like this man. Nobody. Let's see if we can get this call going here. Just waiting a moment to see if the recipient accepts my invitation. Part-time atheist, part-time vegan, apparently it is. Let's see what they got going on. Oh, we've been joined. How you doing? Can you hear me? Do you have a mic? Do you have your mic set up? Testing. You can unmute. Or wait, we don't have anybody yet. I'll try and invite you again. I'll go back to... Oh, I guess you're here. I just don't know why you're not involved. Oh, stop your video. I don't think you're muted, Almost Atheist. But you can join us whenever. So how's everyone doing? Looks like we got some more people joining the chat. Who do we got here? Jed Skeptic, Jed Flat Earth Media. Loving this Teamy Hawashai channel. I was looking at some comments up here. Just amazing to see the amount of knowledge on the internet right now is staggering. I totally agree with you. I can research any book ever written. It's at the end of my fingertips. Not just the 66 books of the canon. I can research and read almost every written scripture that's been uploaded to the internet. Also, any type of research that we want to do, pretty much we have accessible to our clicks as well. So it's always, really, I'm thankful for the internet. As much as I hate it, I still think it's great. Okay. Are you here now? Almost. Can you hear me? Do you have your mic set up? You're not muted. You should be able to come in clear. Sometimes you have to adjust the mic down here. There's an up arrow. You can choose where your mic is. Probably have to mute the live feed when you come on. I can share my screen and the sound so you can still hear it. We'll just keep talking. Maybe I'll play another video while we wait. Shout out to the one and only Enslaved by Media, who played an excellent scripture video dealing with our salvation and the fact that we are at a place in time where there is a spiritual war going on, and reading the word, understanding the scriptures, and fully putting them on you as armor is what we are told to do. It's what we have to do. It's what we do here at Beyond Flat Earth with Awake Souls, Event Skeptic, ROTR, Enslaved by Media. We're constantly doing that, and we're going to be doing that more. We're gonna be doing some studies. We're taking requests. If anybody has any problems or issues with any books or any extra canonical scriptures, we want to get into those. We want to talk about what the scriptures really say and what it is to actually ingest the manna, to eat the holy heavenly manna that falls down from heaven. It's in the books, right? You can listen to them. You could download them. You can get a Bible sword. There's all these different programs. We can research anything right now. It is incredible. We would love if anyone out there knows how to download videos and re-upload them to their channel. We're totally here. If you want to learn how to do tagging, anything with SEO, we're here to help. That's what we're all about. What's happening to the Homer Simpson icon beer fetcher? Nice to see you tonight as well. We're just trying to have a laid back, get a little impersonal, a little impromptu. Just everything seems to be ramping up with this fake war in Korea. The fact that they don't really have nukes, but they do have firebombing and stuff like that. So Stars Are Souls. How many people in the chat remember his channel? He was the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes first interview, and it was funny. He didn't last very long after that. He quit Flat Earth. I'm not blaming Pat or anything, but a little suspicious. I remember he was an honest guy. He was just like me. He wasn't a genius. He wasn't a scholar. He didn't have any degrees in astronomy, but he had a channel that did flat earth content called Stars Are Souls, and he inspired me because he made sense with his videos, and he was out on the beaches and talking to people. It was great. Too bad he wasn't around still. A wrench that allows you to post links and block other people. Excuse me. You basically have to get to know us a little bit before we give you a wrench. I don't really like those symbols, Sean. I don't know what that's all about. Wait, I can't even... I don't know what you're about. You should let us know when you come back, Sean. What's going on? We don't like symbols here. So I guess we're still aren't joined by Almost Atheist. I guess he doesn't have a mic, maybe. Or he hasn't turned his mic on. But I'm gonna get back into a video, I think. We'll keep this going. This is part 1 of 2 of Definitive Proof. This is the correction video.
I'd like to share with you a comment that I recently got, this one from Rasta Vibes. I've had a number of people point this thing out to me, and Rasta Vibes did it in a much nicer way, and I have been considering it, and it's sunk in. First, let me read his comment. It says, "You are confused. Do the experiment with the ball and the 2 dots in real as suggested, and you would see where you are wrong. It was a simple enough experiment. Although the distance traveled is smaller, the further north or south you go, it moves slower, since its distance from the rotating axis radius is smaller. This is a simple fact. The model is incorrect because your equator, if not perpendicular to your north-south axis of the Earth on the equinox, you drew your equator horizontal to the axis of travel of the Earth around the Sun. I would believe this was an honest mistake, as there's no other reason to support this error. I myself do not subscribe to the globe Earth theory, but when debunking such, I believe in being factual and correct in our assertions. Well, I do too, Rasta Vibes. Thank you for the nice comment, way of correcting me. So I did make some false assertions. I've been a non-spinning ball earther for almost 2 years now, and sometimes getting my head back into the ball earth model is a little difficult. I got something wrong, and I'm going to point it out to you. So in both definitive proof 1 and part 2, I thought I had 2 fatal flaws in the globe model, when it turns out I really only had 1 fatal flaw. So I had pointed out tirelessly that the sun rising 90 degrees east, setting 270 degrees west, everywhere on Earth at the equinox was an impossibility. And then I also asserted something else. So let's give it a quick listen. That it does not matter where you are in the world whatsoever, that at the equinox the sun's going to rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west, and it's going to be equal day and night. That it does not matter if you're in the north, if you're in the south, anywhere you are, the sun is going to rise 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west. That is not possible on a globe. Okay? You cannot be at a northernmost city and have the same length of day as a city on the equator. Okay, so that was the second fatal flaw that I was wrong about. On a ball, you can have equal length day and night at the equinox. Alright, so in both part 1 and part 2, I was incorrect in stating that you cannot have equal length. It's really inconsequential, and it wasn't even really the point of the video at all. The point of the video was about the angle of the sunrise and the angle of the sunset. I don't want people to get tripped up. The shills and trolls have been just pounding on this one matter, and they don't even touch the angle of the sunrise and the angle of the sunset. One more time, I want to make sure that we're using the correct ball model. I'm back at Google, equinox definition, looking at images. This right here is the image that I've been using, but we can take a look here and see that they all represent the same thing. So in the one that I've been using, it's laid out this direction. We've got the celestial equator here, the yellow line. We've got a 23.5 degree tilt all the time. So the tilt is going to the left side of the page here every single time. Earth's tilted at the equinoxes, it's tilted at the solstices. The summer solstice, the northern hemisphere, is tilted towards the sun. At the winter solstice, it's the southern hemisphere tilted towards the sun. But at the equinoxes, there is the tilt. Let's take a look at this one. Same thing. Every single time there is a tilt. Now these axes, these poles, are pointing towards the North Star. Let's take a look at some more. Here, they're all tilted. It's the same thing. Tilted. Same thing. Always in the same direction. So that is the official ball model. So I've added some detail to my model. I'll walk you through that real quickly. You're going to see these guidelines now. Now when we zoom in, you're going to see that these guidelines come directly off of axes that I put through the Earth so that we can see that tilt a little bit easier. Now these guidelines are extending up to added Polaris. Okay, so the North Pole has to always be tilted towards Polaris. So we've got that in the model now. Now I want to bring you into the autumn equinox. And to get behind the sun here, it takes just a little bit. Alright, now we've got our back to the sun here. Can we all agree on that? Now I've got this rod acting as an axis here. I'm going to show you our celestial equator. I'm just going to bring this box back in here. There is the celestial equator. So right now we are lined up. See how that red line's flipping up and down? Sun's directly to our back. And it's lined up right here with the equator. You can see how I've got this lined up with Ecuador right here. The Earth is at its tilt. 23.4, 23.5 degrees. Now I'm going to get that celestial equator out of the way. And I'm going to use this plate that I have down below the Earth. This is set at the same tilt. Let me just show you. Here's the tilt of the Earth. This right here is set at the same 23.4 degrees. That's what I'm using. Now as I pull this up, this is going to act just like lines of latitude, okay? As I pull up, so these are the lines of latitude. When I get up to the equator here, can you see the disparity? Take a look at this. This is our celestial plane right here. This is the equator. There's no way at the equinox that you're going to have a sunrise at 90 degrees. Look at where the equator is. This is the equinox, the fall equinox. So it's not going to be 90 degrees for a sunrise, and it's not going to be 270 degrees for a sunset. So I'm sorry about that mistake. At some future point I may re-edit part 1 and 2 so that they're corrected, but I wanted to get this out there right now so that it wouldn't stumble anybody. So keep praying, keep looking, film sunrises and sunsets, and soon I'm going to be putting out some connecting the dot videos that won't be definitive proof, but it's going to be more or less how I see things.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, Awake Souls. Just to let people know. Oh, hello. We have a guest here. One sec. Let me turn this down. Are we joined with... yeah, I can hear you. You're loud and clear. Oh, maybe a little bit louder. Here, I'll turn this music off. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good. For sure. How you doing? Awesome. That's...
So, first of all, the celestial, the celestial pole.
Mm-hmm.
Celestial pole, that makes total sense. I looked into it. I saw how, even at the equator, the celestial pole will appear to rise. But one thing that threw me off is that I like it how you, so you guys say that the sun goes under the earth, like the Book of Enoch says?
Well, the Book of Enoch says that, but all we can truly observe and prove is that the sun rises and sets everywhere on Earth. It never stays above. Pardon? Oh, we got to get you louder. How am I going to do that? Oh, this is why. Check again. Can you give me a sound check, please?
Can you hear me?
might have to talk a little bit more in the mic, but could you repeat that? So, explain again the issues that you had because they were great.
Okay, so I was looking into y'all's model,
I turned it on.
and I was.
Mhm.
Can y'all still hear me, or do I need to? I can try to turn on my mic a little bit more. Hold on. Is that better? That's
Everyone should hear you. I don't know why. Talk. It should look at the.
I
Is
have a
that any better,
different.
Jason?
I can use that.
Oh, you know what? I can tweak this. I can tweak this.
All right.
Desktop audio. Give me a couple of checks.
All right. I'm just gonna keep talking, I guess. Talk, 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 talk,
It's
talk.
it's going up.
Da 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 da.
I think we're. I'll just crank it right up. Okay, we're gonna go. Okay, we're good.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, start again. Okay, you're checking out the map of the elect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was checking out the map. Everything looks like it checked out. But the only issue I have is okay. So I'm down to say that the sun goes in the portal and then it goes under the earth and then comes out. Like I'm down to say that. But my issue here is the time difference. So let's say there are times that Alaska only gets 5 hours of sunlight.
Mhm.
So that means that say we're in Alaska. So if we look at your map right now, we're in Alaska. That means that the sun would either have to travel super duper slow and then stay under the earth for an extended amount of time, or I don't know. It's hard for me to make sense of it because there's also other places like Stockholm,
Mhm.
which at certain times of the year gets 22 hours of sunlight.
Mhm.
So it's hard for me to make sense of some of these things. And so, are you guys? So, do you guys advocate the Pac-Man sun, or do you guys advocate the sun going under the earth? Like, which one would you prefer?
So, in the Book of Enoch, it speaks of the sun going under the earth, and it's losing its
Right.
light, and then it's regaining it in the morning when it rises again. The light supposedly, Enoch speaks of it staying in heaven for like
Right.
8 hours. So basically, what that is Enoch is he is apparently all of his measurements were taken from Mount Sinai in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So you know how he talks about the evens and the outs and extraordinarily, and he has some extra things that he puts into his speech. What people really need to understand is the Book of Enoch is probably written over 3,000 years ago. So the very fact that we can even understand any of it, I think,
Right.
is
Right.
really blessing, right? So the times are very interesting for me. So it seems like what we have uncovered, Jason and I, that the sun travels. It doesn't really travel down these lines. These are just almost like globe needed perspectives because they're not real. We don't believe that this is the sun. That we don't think there's an actual sun traveling down this red line. We believe that each person is in tune with the simulation, and they have in their so the size of my annotate color red spot, that circle, you have your own perspective of your own sun. So each person has a sun that they see rise and they see set in. We believe it's a simulation. Um, so
So the sun is different for everybody. Is that what
it
you're
well,
saying?
it follows these paths like these are the tropics and the equator. Um, in a macro scale, it follows these paths. It doesn't really because it's being seen or rendered to us at a 3 mile perspective. Each person has a sun that rises, like Enoch said. So the sun rises as he sets, and he remains on his course unceasingly. Right? He's constantly
Okay.
going doing this path, constantly doing his path. But the fact that we can measure clouds and shadows and things behind the sun and the moon, it totally disproves that the fact that the sun would be like, 50,000 miles up or 100, how the flat earthers think, right? The
Right.
sun is 3,000 miles up, right? It's 3,000 miles wide or something, right?
Right.
Which,
Okay. So, question. It is roughly 3,000 miles. So this map here. I see Africa is kind of skinny towards the middle or towards the bottom part. Is this map drawn to scale,
Well,
or is
is
it
it
kind of just a rough
how
estimate?
how when I show you it on the globe now? What is it? What do you think? So you still think it's skinny down here?
Well, see, I'm gonna actually try to make sense of the different time zones, but I want to make sure before try to make sense of it that it's actually drawn to scale, so I don't
It's drawn to
make sense of
scale. The
scale.
cartographers that made the Hotine map said that there was nearly no distortions anywhere on the map. The only distortions that they said that they would admit was basically from this top point here to the left
Hmm.
and then down. That makes up your timeline, your date line, right?
Right, right, right.
And on the
Okay.
globe, it's all sketched out. It goes like a jagged kind of like right.
Right.
So when we wrap this, I believe that these land masses are actually, almost exactly. Maybe they're off by who knows, but what we've measured for the flight routes, and basically the times, and so the fact that twice a year the sun travels along this on the macro scale. Twice a year it travels along this, and everywhere on the map sees the sun 90 east and setting 170 west.
Okay.
So this is the only map that is possible because of the way that the magnetics and the way that it's kind of skewed. You can see how these lines they get fatter at the top, right? And these are actually the
Right.
lines of latitude and longitude. The latitudes are the ones traveling from east to west, and the ones traveling from the North Pole to the South Pole, those are your longitudes. And the other thing too about this map that's incredible is like all the magnetic lines. So you know how on the globe we have what's called true north and magnetic north.
Right.
See, when we project this map to a sphere, we end up getting the angle of tilt, the axis of the Earth. It just snaps like that due to the way that the magnetic lines are drawn. For me, the fact that we don't need to have two poles, this is a globe killer in my opinion, because they have to skew the globe kind of like, I'm trying to see, they have to like make it look like this.
Hmm.
They put all the lines lateral on the globe, and that's why when you try to navigate it with a compass, so if you were in Canada and you were trying to navigate this map, the Google Earth globe, you'd be pointed up here. So they tell you have to declinate yourself and you have to measure back to here, right?
Right. Right. Right.
That is why we chose to use this map, because it actually does away with declination. You just need to know where you are, and then you can compass, right? North will always point to here, and south will always point to here and here. So if you can understand that, you're pretty advanced, man.
Yeah, I've been studying flat Earth for a long time now. But my question to you is: so you guys are pretty stern on the simulation theory. So what brought you guys into that?
Well, Jason got me into that. It was him that suggested it to me, and it was funny because after I'd heard it, I had every now and then I had remembered that I almost, I kind of almost always knew. You know how
Right.
Eric Dubay says he knew the Earth was flat in kindergarten or whatever.
Right. 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 Right.
I kind of knew that we lived in some sort of a reality that wasn't quite what we thought it was. And
Right.
for me, the fact that the sun does this, that it rises and sets due east and due west for everyone on Earth. So it's amazing because you can see this yellow line, right? That's the most northern position the sun would get. How is it that the
Right.
sun? I grew up here, but I could measure the sun directly over my head, and so could someone on this spot, on this spot, on this spot, on this spot. The sun goes right over their head. Right over my head. I don't know where you are, but the sun will go right over your head.
So is that what kind of made you think of the simulation? Just the mechanics of the sun?
Yes, the fact that, and the other thing too, when I was doing my research and I found, well, like I said, it was Awake Souls who put me onto it, but it was a bunch of my research that helped me. Eric Dullard, have you heard of him?
Eric, who?
Dullard.
What about him?
He was a scientist that was basically saying everything that science wasn't about the sun. He was saying that the sun is like a capacitor. It just transmits energy from another place to here. It's like he was
Isn't
saying,
he like the people they say it's like the second Tesla or something like that?
well,
Or
he might
well,
be.
you know, they make claims like that, but I think it's like an old guy with glasses,
Yeah,
and
that's him. And well, he
I
had
know
his whole. Pardon? Go ahead.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
he was like a super cool scientist, and then they like supposedly came and bashed and broke all his equipment, and now he says to people, you know, you can't really, we'll never know, and we can't find things. He's totally changed, but he was saying that the sun just transfers energy, and he was saying that without the Earth and without the observer, there basically really is no sun, right? He was saying that it's like a he was saying because you can't see the sunlight in space, supposedly, that you can only see it when it
Right.
hits the moon. So it needs objects to actually be there. And then that was when I started to realize that things like rainbows, the fact that we can all see them, but when you try to go catch it, it moves again further from your perspective. And
Right.
knowing and that plus the rise and sets of the sun, and then I'm a biblical guy, and Jason Awake Souls is also, and you know he grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and his brother had a biblical name and he didn't, and I really believe his memory when he states that it, you know, I would have felt the same way. You know, if I'm growing up where I'm reading the scriptures 3 times a week and my brother's name is like Moses and they name me, you know, Tim, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
But now he can go in the Bible and the name Jason is actually like a conspiracy guy that's fighting the powers in the Bible. His name is in the Bible. And I can't explain that other than we live in a simulation, and the ruler of this world, not the God or the king of this world, he's just ruling it because people choose wicked thoughts over good ones. He is turning things up, and he's doing lying signs and wonders. And the only way you could do that is if you live in a simulation. I'm trying to think if there was any other proofs. Just this map, the fact that me and Jason found this map, and that it looks like a sine wave, right? You see how it's got a pulsation to it,
Right. Right.
and the sun does that. And then, how amazing is it that we live on a 2-dimensional plane, but yet it feels like we're encompassed by an infinite amount of places, but we're not. Like it was created to make us feel awe, wrapped. The sky wraps around us, right?
Right.
So the other cool things about the map, going back to what you were saying before, so instead of it being, I know Jason doesn't really like this analogy because it is easier to explain it to people when you say Pac-Man or asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
I still see it as the sun is trapped. It's not trapped. The sun has been ordained a 24-hour path from this spot here to this spot here. It will not decrease, cease, or stop running its course. It always runs its course. But I don't believe there's necessarily a sky portal where the sun goes through. It's just this is one day, and we can't travel fast enough to supposedly, you know, go back in time, or even if those things are possible in this realm. But just the fact that the sun does this, it travels along this path, rising and setting for everybody over all their heads. I don't think there's any way you could tell me that it's not a simulation. And here's a question I have for you. I want to know, you're a very open-minded person, I can already tell, because you had better questions than we've ever got about this model. How is it that people can be fooled into believing that they live in a universe that's endless, right? That it's the most, we can't even measure how big it is. There's so many stars. But then when I try to tell them that it repeats like this, right? You can travel in all directions and you end up in the same place as you started, right? At any degree or any angle. How is it that I can't even get someone to even, you know, entertain the idea when they believe they live in a spinning ball in outer space, you know, endless?
I think a lot of it is culture, like how we were raised. Because for me, just like when I first heard of the flat Earth, like I didn't even take it serious. And then when I heard about the Pac-Man style flat Earth, where the sun basically keeps going and it appears to come to the other side, like I just couldn't give it a second thought, because I was raised in a culture of, you know, that's not scientific. You know, I can't prove that scientifically. But honestly, when you just take a look at the nature around you, there's so much mystery. But it's almost as if science tries to cover it up to tell you, oh yeah, we understand everything. And when we're presented with the reality that we don't understand a lot of things, that's like it's like breaking our foundational belief. So it's kind of the culture in which we're brought up in. But that's my perspective.
No, that's a great answer. I got that similar type of answer from Awake Souls today. He was saying it insults people's intelligence. They feel
Right.
like they got to defend it. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm saying, hey, look what we found, guys. That's
Yeah.
and the entire flat Earth community hates us. Drove us absolutely insane. We're trying to get back to a calm. We want to push forward, but nobody's really addressing the fact that. So okay, back to the portal. I do think it's interesting.
And I have one question for you. Do you know when this map was made? Like,
Yeah, the earliest version of this was 1896, 1894 C.S. Pierce. We shared it here. I have a slide. I believe I have it in a slide. Let me get back to that. Oops. Where did I go? One sec. I got so many things going here. This is a great platform, eh? Can you hear me clearly?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty good. It's clear. It's way better than Skype. Google Slides.
I
heard, huh? Yeah, it's good. You'll like it the more you get used to it. I also heard that Google was actually censoring people while using their products like Google Slides and like locking them out, saying they violated copyrights. Like the conspiracy theorist writing in Google Word, and they locked out of their Google Word.
Wow.
Here, this is interesting. Here we go. I can show you this here. This is one of our original slideshows that we used for Beyond Flat Earth. This was about a year ago. So it pretty much goes over what we were saying. Photographic evidence that the sun and moon are much closer than 2, 3, or 1,000 miles. We're saying that it's within 3 to 6 mile range.
Okay.
These are the reasons we believe it's a simulation. Come on. The angles of the sun and moon rise and sun and moon set are impossible on the popular flat Earth model and on the globe as well. The Mandela effect, which I explained to you with the Bible being literally changed, like physically changed. This was Jason's topic that I'm still working on non-duality. Like, do you know what non-duality is?
I know what duality is, but non-duality, I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
So I'm just a student, but what I've learned so far, hopefully we'll get Awake Souls at some point to do a live hangout where he can go into depth. But non-duality is when you separate yourself from dualistic thinking. So nothing really in this world is dual. So there's no duality. Like, tell me an opposite, what you'd think would be like a dualistic.
Black and white.
So black and white would just be a gradient of white to no light.
I've had similar thoughts. I've had similar thoughts of that because if you honestly think about it, there really is no distinct. I mean, we can distinguish it, but like we can't draw a definite line.
Mm-hmm.
We can't draw that line in the sand.
Yeah, there's black. How about another dualistic one that's really hot and cold, right? So it's either heat or absence of heat. It's just a gradient again. There's no actual. And so these things, I can't really speak on it too much because I'm still learning. But that's another reason we think we're in a simulation. And then the map that we're going to be using for modeling is another reason why we think we're in a simulation. I'll show you. So this was the first one that we found. Where is it? Oh, this is some other stuff I'll get back to after. More reasons why I believe we're in a simulation. I used to love these presentations. Okay, here's the map. When was it? It was written in 1894, so I was right. The oblique Mercator projection, cylindrical conformal C.S. Pierce. Can you believe that when Robotham was supposedly going around telling everyone they lived on a pizza pie, this guy mapped out the Earth like this?
That's crazy.
Right? Like, and we can actually physically test all these spots. Like we have been, right?
Right.
So I believe they were traveling the entire face of the earth then, and they circumnavigated it in all directions, and that's how they were able to make this map. So in the regular mapping systems, you have to use like 4 and 5 different projections. You have to keep drilling in, and these lines of latitude and longitude shift. You have to use 3 different projections really to make this one. And it's amazing that even the prime meridian, the way it goes like up and down like that, it's just incredible. Right. This is the prime meridian. So this would be where Polaris was, and then down here is where Sigma Octantis is. So this map also has 2 poles, right?
Right.
And then this map here overlays on top of that, and this is the celestial sky. Here's the celestial center right here where my pointer is, and this is the ecliptic, right? If you've ever seen the ISS path, it actually goes exactly like this, except they plotted over a fake map, and that's why if you try to triangulate it, you're going to be off.
It's interesting.
This is how we measure the stars. But I'll go back. So another reason why I really think we're in a simulation is I don't believe that I believe these computers and these hard drives are actually just like reverberating our own thoughts. I believe in morphic resonance. Like I think all these chords here is a joke. I don't think we need these chords. I think if we could just open up our consciousness, we could be able to plug into these spots mentally, and I think we are. And then this is another reason why I believe I'm in a simulation too, because the mathematics needed for a photon or whatever comes out of the sun to actually somehow magically feed these plants and us, and it's in a cycle. Everything, the symbiotic relationships. So it's scientists said when they tested, they came up with this problem. It was 10 to the power of 3,997 to 1 that we would be here. And they like this. They go on the smaller number. They say 1 to the 120th. So if on your calculator, that's 120 zeros and then a 1. And if one of those calculations were 1 off, we wouldn't exist. So that is yeah. And there's only,
is that like the fine tuning? Is that kind
yes,
of the fine tuning?
That is the fine tuning. It was Leonard Susskind, a plumber, that was the one who broke that. He was the bad boy of science. Really, he was, because he went in and kind of ruined everybody's plan here. He proved that basically we're in a simulation, and he's a He's a holographic simulation guy, because the scientists now know they're way ahead of us, right? They know what's going on, but they get killed, right? If you don't peer review, we live on a spinning ball, and we live on matter, and they kill you if you do anything else.
Well, when you say simulation, Dick, are you implying that we're inside a computer just being ran, or are you implying that I don't know, because I almost feel like using simulation is almost redundant, because for example, let's say a simulation such as like a Call of Duty video game. Mm-hmm. So theoretically speaking, call it like a Call of Duty character can't act unless we send a signal to the Call of Duty character. So are you saying that we're those Call of Duty characters and we don't have free will? Or are you saying that we're just in a process running? And I mean, wait, so do you believe in free will at all? Or
yeah, I do. I believe that we're here to invoke our free will and to choose whether we want to go with the creator of the simulation or if we want to do our own thing. Basically, Awake Souls came up with it again. I have to always give him credit because he's got a brilliant mind. But if you take the movie Matrix, right, and have you seen the movie Avatar?
Right, yeah.
If you mix those two, what was the other one? So if you mix those two, he might be out. If you mix those two, you basically can start to get a feel of. So I believe our souls are stars. I believe we're projecting into the game from outside. Basically, it's so grand that I couldn't tell you if we're in God's mind or if this is something that he actually made on a hard drive somewhere, or I can't explain. I know we're all made of light, even right down to like our blood is made of light. Like when you die, you can't transfuse your blood anymore. Like the moment of death, your blood is no longer good anymore, right? Well, after you've been 15 minutes or whatever.
Right.
The spirit leaves it. So basically we project. I think it's like a virtual reality game that we plug into. Basically, you put your quarter in heaven, and we've come down here to you forget, right? You don't know that you're a star as a soul, because then it wouldn't be really, it would be fixed. So the free will is that we choose to believe the creator of the Bible and what he told us, or we choose to not. And we don't know. That's why you have things like violence, rape, murder. I mean, I believe that the victims of those horrible, heinous crimes, I do believe they're rewarded in heaven. And I have scriptures that back that up. And that never gets brought into the topic when people try to say, where was God? And what I believe is when the Creator created the light, some of the light didn't want to follow suit. So the only way he could make it fair for all of us was he created the simulation, and he said, everyone can choose, because if you're in the presence of the creator of all of the light, you'd never know what it feels like to be in hell.
Right.
And I think it's sort of a trap here. I think when you come and you play your game, and it's so important that you make the right choices, that it means everlasting life. Right? It terrifies me. And some people are terrified of dying. I am not terrified of dying at all. I'm the complete opposite. I'm terrified of not making the right choices in life, like being a kind person and studying the word of the Creator. Learning about the simulation is the most, like, I've given up mostly everything in my life to do it.
I've taken a similar endeavor.
I was going to ask, I'd like to, why don't you please fill us in on what you believe and everything. Again, so do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I vlog and stuff.
Oh, give it a shout out, please.
Yeah, part-time vegan. If you guys want to follow me or subscribe to my channel, that'd be really cool. But I'll give you my short little spiel. I graduated college about a few months ago. Got a bio degree, chemistry minor. Was thinking about going to med school or nursing school. But I kind of felt a different calling because, don't get me wrong, like being a doctor, having a nice wife and kids and a picket fence, I mean, that's all cool, but I felt like there's kind of more to life than just going through the typical routine. So I kind of became on a search for truth. Started studying different religions. I had a brief time where I basically became an atheist. But then, like, once I discovered that the earth was flat, like, my whole world just, like, changed. Just like, wow. Like, God is so evident, but I've been fed all these lies. I was preaching evolution, and because, I have a bio degree, so I'm like, yo, I understand it. I can teach it to you. But, like, once you, like, actually study the foundations of science, you would see that it's arbitrary. You'll see that a lot of the things that they believe in are just theoretical, and I don't know. But I love the flat earth philosophy because it starts off with the philosophy of common sense. So basically, whatever the heavenly bodies are doing, the sun confuses me. Honestly, the stars confuse me. But one thing that doesn't confuse me is that we experience a flat earth, and we start from that common sense. And we don't have to necessarily give our common sense up for mathematical equations. And that's one thing I really love about the flat earth. And so for me, the only way I would probably go back to believing that the earth was a globe is if I saw it from my own eyes. And I'm not talking about like a picture on YouTube or a video on YouTube. I would basically have to be in that rocket ship looking down to see the globe like a round ball for me to believe that we're on the globe, because like there's so much evidence and there's so much like we have irrefutable proof that NASA didn't go to the moon. And I'm gonna make a video on that because one thing that bothers me though is that when you talk about these things to like the average person, they don't even give you a second thought. You know, they're like, oh, obviously we went to the moon. So it's kind of hard to convince people that we didn't go because some of the proof is kind of technical. And, you know, some people have really short attention spans, which I mean, I understand because I was once that person who had that short attention span. So, like, my videos, I'm going to try to make them have substance, and I want to entertain people and I want to teach people. So that's why I'm dedicating my life to YouTube to basically preach about the creator and try to bring people towards truth. So, but that's my journey. And like what this is right here, like just seeing this new map, I'm going to try to like add some science behind it, like maybe make sense of the sun. But I'm having a little bit of issues because what is your take on the magnetic sun? Have you heard about that? What flat earthers are saying now?
Um, the magnetic model is it's a farce. From my research, you can do your own research, but
Right.
it demands that a sun is going like this. But now they're like making it go like this. You know, around it.
Right.
I don't know if you can see my pointer. It's it does not work. Please debunk it yourself.
Right.
Steve, what's his name? It's Doctor
Dr.
Steve.
Zach.
Dr. Zach, I'm drawing a blank. I have to come down a bunch of levels to go back to this thought because we totally debunked it. Why don't they just have a look at some of the other models before they just continue? It's still an AE map underneath their magnetic model,
Right. Right.
and they need to defy so many things. To make it work, they need to tell you the sun really isn't where it is. And what we're trying to say is, no, we can all measure where the sun is. Like everyone on Earth can do that. The stars, it's pretty easy. It's like you're on a globe. All the stars in the south spin this way, and in the north, all the stars spin this way. So there's a disc here spinning, and there's a disc down here spinning, and the sun and the moon and all the stars go along this path. Right? The wandering stars, they stay within the ecliptic. Again, I can go back to the slideshow. It's really easy. You'll get it. It's so super easy. On this, all of the stars, the sun and the moon, they go along this path. They're either a little bit up or a little bit down. You remember, this is a stereographic, so the 2D plane was created to feel like a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. I can't. We can ask ourselves and find proof for what's going on, but really when we want to know why, we got to ask the creator, right?
Well, see, the way I see it is that people, if you just look at the heavenly bodies, they all kind of take a circular path. And from a human perspective, the perfect shape is a circle. I mean, not a circle, but a sphere. So I feel like that, yes, the heavenly bodies, they have a spherical rotation, but just because they have a spherical rotation doesn't necessarily mean that below is a sphere. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's where the misconception starts. Is just the heavenly bodies. But I feel that on any model, like whether you believe the Earth is a globe or whether you believe the Earth is flat or this projection, the heavenly bodies are going to be hard to explain because there's only so much we can do to like actually to study it. It's not like we have access to the satellites that the government has access to that are constantly taking pictures. And
well, that's how they made this map, right? The map that
I'm using.
It's called the World Satellite Map.
Right.
But we know they do have the balloons and the high altitude vehicles that are. I think they have like gliders and balloons. NASA is the largest user of helium, right, on the Earth. I would be surprised if the space shuttle was a helium balloon, right?
Right.
Jaron is.
I think maybe like they sent the satellite to go like straight forward, and then like when it ended up coming back, they're like, "What the hell is going on?" And then they're like, probably then they probably sent actual people up there to try to see what's going on. Then they realized that the Earth is a flat realm, and they're like, "Whoa!" Like,
yeah,
what the hell? Like, how do we make sense of this? But I mean, like you can still make sense of it on a globe model if you're willing to just ignore your common sense and say, well, I think the Earth is round. you know.
Ignore everything about the water.
Right.
Everything about everything we've ever seen, and how like on a calm day you can sit beside a pond and watch a leaf like float down.
Right, right.
Like, it's, how is that even possible on a globe spinning going through galaxies?
I think that the most obvious thing is just like the stars in general, because like if you, the globe is moving, is said to be moving like around the sun, up the galaxy on its own axis, but yet we see this perfect circular star rotation. You know, like to me, I was like, that's basically proof that we're not on a spinning globe. But
And on top of that, the fact that it's absolutely one infinite amount exactly where it should be every single day for the entirety of time,
right,
and
right.
the stars. The fact that it's a program. Like, if you have any intelligence in your mind, and I know you do, but I'm talking to the people listening, how do you deny
Right.
that? We just spoke those words. Like, everything is measurable to exact.
Exactly.
Everything. And that's why, you know what we get? Instead of your attitude, we get people that say, we'll never know. We can't figure anything out, right?
Right. It shocks me how people are willing to believe that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but also like 400 times further away. So it looks like the sun and the moon are the same size. And I'm like, so you don't see anything wrong with that? Like, you don't see like, what type of coincidence are we talking about here? Like, if you have common sense, you would scratch your head and say, wait, is that a cop out, or is this reality? I mean, you can't confirm that yourself. So
For me, when I found that out, what I wanted to know was about the perigee and the apogee. So the fact
Right.
that the sun and the moon are both moving closer and further away, we should be able to calculably measure a considerably difference in size, especially with the sun.
Right.
And then when you look at the model of the sun, the Earth is this pin dot, and the sun is like 40 different monitors. You'd have to set up 100 TV screens to make a comparison to a pin dot, right?
right.
How are we not just bathed in sun, like it's just burning? And then they really fear porn that up, right? In science, that the sun is gonna one day explode and eat us.
Yeah. It's
And then they're gonna have a big crunch, right? They teach that in the schools too. Then everything's gonna freeze because it's gonna move so far away from each other, right?
right. Like, to me, I'm like, where do we draw the line here of of like, will we believe anything? I think that my skepticism started when I learned about dark matter and dark energy. I was like, wait, so there's invisible particles that move particles, like I was like, how do we even see this? Like, how do we even discover this? But like, and then I found out that black holes don't even exist, and I was like, are you
Well, they've never been observed, right?
yeah. Well, we think it's spinning, so that there's a black hole right there. I'm just like, is this the? And what's so crazy is, it's presented as a fact. It's presented as like we have a firm understanding of what's going on. You know.
The guy in the book on the page has a lab coat on, the glasses on, and a clipboard.
Right.
There's a check mark that's green beside it, right? We found the black hole. And then you dig a little bit, you dig deeper. Excuse me, they've never been able to find one.
Right.
It's like the model, the simulation that they ran, because that's the thing that we do inside simulations. Everybody wants to run simulations, right?
Right.
That's what a video game is.
Yeah.
What's up,
yeah.
Sean G? Big shout out to Sean G. We'll get into that after. Trying to go back to my thought. Oh, science. They said science can prove anything in the world. They can tell you about everything as long as you give them one free pass. And that free pass is the explosion of everything from nothing and everything else for the rest of time.
And yeah, people buy it. I honestly think it's rooted from fear, because I remember there's a girl I used to talk to. She was a firm atheist. And then I was like, so you really believe that a big bang exploded from nothing and created all this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, why? She was like, because of science. And I mean, like, that's their answer because of science, because of math, because somebody else has calculated it for me. Therefore, I don't feel like taking that mental journey to actually investigate it. And I mean, I can understand that viewpoint because, you have work tomorrow morning. You gotta get your kids something to eat. You have your other priorities, but that's just the way this system has been set up to basically take our mind off of things that are important and focus on things that really don't matter.
Yeah, they get us stuck in this what's called preoccupation, right?
Right.
We're all in this rat race. We all want to get better than the neighbors. The white picket fence, we all wanted it. Most that find it end up, not wanting it.
Right.
It's great because it's the same thing. It's not fulfilling. So when you have the house, the picket fence, the trophy wife, the kids in hockey, you still because you've got to that point in life, you still want more. What's the next set of goals? You're going to own 2 houses, 2 mansions, right? Are you
Right.
going to own? It's and science. It's because I loved science. I was like, I watched all of the Morgan Freeman episodes and I read all the books. I went and tried to learn as much as I could about everything. And they're always like, they leave you at the end of the show with like never giving you the final thing. Always.
Right.
Like time travel. Have you ever studied that?
Yeah. Yes, I have studied time travel.
It's like they walk you right up to the edge of the line where we already have teleporting machines and everything's possible, except they'll never ever get to that point.
Right. They just kind of tease you with the ideas, but
that is one thing that I learned, that the universe wasn't rotating, because in my time travel studies, if the universe was supposedly rotating, then we would have been able to counteract the spin. That's what they said, and you could go back in time. But they found out that the universe was actually like stationary, like it's not moving. Right. And that's after Hubble and Alton Harp. He found a quasar that was like local. So and it's funny. A major paradigm shifts happen in science when problems arise, and like when we found out, like the way that we've been filming, I put out my first Clouds Behind the Sun and Moon video. It must have been almost 2 years ago. And like I went outside, bro, I could look at it with my bare eye, the moon, and I could see clouds behind it. I was like, wait a minute. Are those clouds 238,000 miles away from me? I'm like, wow, I'm a superhero.
Right.
I got X-Men vision, right? And so I published that video, and it went pretty viral. Mostly because I challenged other people to debunk it, which they haven't. They hold up a piece of film and they're like, see? I'm like, no, a bright light over a film has nothing to compare to a cloud and the focal length. So then we started seeing it with the sun. And so the moon and the sun can be that far away, and that's how you come to the point where you realize that the sun is actually, it's traveling over everyone's head on Earth, so it's acting like a rainbow or like a kaleidoscope type of thing. It's such a hard... It's such a hard what we're talking about, but science, they will not go there. Like I thought Stephen Hawking was cool. I'm like, wow, most of my life until I became a truth researcher and I researched. He's like, ALS, you live till like 10 years max. If you have, he's had it for like 80 years or 70 years.
Right.
He's like the all-time world's history longest survivor of this deadly disease. And then I started noticing Carl Sagan was writing it all, and then I find out all the scientists are Satanists, right?
Right.
What's with that?
It's crazy because when you're presented with science, you say, we have this cool peer review system, but if you really think about it, it's just basically a bunch of guys that are putting what is right and what is wrong based on what they believe. So obviously a creationist isn't going to get published in a scientific journal because they're different foundational beliefs. So, and the thing is, well, you're not going to even do a science experiment unless you have funding. So what are the experiments that are going to get the grants? Well, the ones that are going to push the agenda that the 1% wants. So basically science is just a way to push well, anything that the government's involved in, it's basically just a way to push what the agenda, their agendas and their narrative that they want to spread. So I kind of think that's kind of how this whole round Earth thing even propagated. Because I've noticed that I believe I saw a stat that, or not a stat, but a fact that said the round Earth was promoted during the first years of the printing press, which is ironic to me because the printing press is obviously like basically the first media, and that's kind of how they spread the round Earth. Because it's really not that hard. Because once you have one generation believing in round Earth,
Mhm.
they're going to teach it to their kids. They're going to teach it to their kids, and there you go. So
Yeah, the Russian spies totally concur with you. To change a culture, it only takes one generation, or three, be a grandfather to a grandson. By the end of that, and
right,
we found, even my cousin, where he's a drywaller, we were taking apart a building, and he found an old Jesuit Ball Earth book from like 18 something. It was like falling apart. It was tiny, like a little handbook. The Jesuit would
right,
carry it in his pocket. And they were pure. They weren't saying that the Earth was a globe in this book, but they were just acting like it was. And then sometimes they would say, because it was very biblical, the book, it was still giving the Creator shout outs throughout the whole book. Like everything was heavenly and created by the Heavenly Father, but it was a ball. And they didn't have. They would say, well, we think that the Earth is a ball because, and they would list some of the properties. But it was a Jesuit handbook that went across the face of the earth, right? Everybody, if you had money or you wanted to be someone, you had to learn about the ball earth. That was science, right?
right,
And then you would get promoted and you could be a science teacher or whatever it was. And
right.
everyone was hooked, right? Because the Jesuit guy probably came around with money and supported people here and there in the community. The same thing they do today. See, the paradigm that I see, the huge paradigm shift, is I don't know if we've had better technology in the past, to be honest with you, because when I read literature, the level of intelligence from whatever I can find is older than this was higher level.
Right.
I think the elites are just drip feeding us nothingness
Right.
and
Right.
letting us fight each other. And
They tried to make out that our ancestors were like dumb people, but I take the standpoint that they were probably a lot smarter than we are. Like instead of they might not have the machines that we have, but maybe they found a way to actually work with the environment instead of trying. Because like our machines damage the environment, so maybe they had a better system that actually works with the environment. But I don't know. Like I just feel that, like you said, they're spoon feeding us what they want us to know.
Mhm.
But that really makes me skeptical of so many things because like I ask myself, well, if they can manipulate to this degree, how do I know they didn't manipulate the Bible?
Well, I've gone through that one. Oh yeah, that I can debate on that point. Is because you can redundantly find people are still digging up manuscripts out of the ground,
Right,
out of the desert, and you can match them to the Greek. You can match them to the English, to the Aramaic, to multiple Hebrews, Egyptian. There's the Epic of Gilgamesh. So the scriptures are also like chiseled at a rock. Um,
right,
there's scripts, there's scrolls that have been like wax sealed and they roll up and they all read without any punctuations. It's just like the old Paleo Hebrew, and that matches. So, how much more proof? Because that's the question that's been probably asked over time. How do we know that this book is true? And it's like every time someone asks that, five more of them show up that can be easily validated and verified. It's like, but yet
well,
people don't
what
see
gets
that.
me is that okay, so the idea or at least the story of a risen savior has been basically passed down basically since the beginning of writing.
No,
And
well,
I say that in a very general sense. Like I'm not saying that the first papyrus had writings of a savior, but I know that as far as the religious scriptures are concerned, like the Hindu scriptures. I forgot what it's called, the Raga Vita or the Vedas, whatever.
Bhagavatam?
Yeah. It even spoke about a risen Savior. So I'm curious as to, was this idea created, or is this a fulfillment of prophecy? Like, that's
Well,
where I'm
see,
at right now.
okay, well then, it's too bad you weren't around the other night on Awake Souls channel, because we played at the end of one of our hangouts. After we just used total ball earth smashery, we just video after video and AE map smashery. We played what is called Zeitgeist Refuted. Have you heard of this?
Yes, Zeitgeist. Yes.
Okay, but not the refuted part, right? Refuted, because
That's
that's
the refuted part.
Oh yeah, here I'll get you the link so you have it for later. So basically, it really takes an in-depth look at the same type of accusations and claims that you're making right now, because they're valid. Everyone should have the right to question everything, right?
Right.
I don't know why my keyboard's acting up. So this group of people have Christians. This Waitgeist, they've gone and debunked it completely. And so the Bhagavatam, I believe the insemination was done through sex, right?
Right.
And she wasn't a virgin, right? So all of the prophecies that have ever been written, that have been redundantly written, there's only one storyline that actually nails all of that. And that is the 66 books and all the apocryphal canon of the Bible, right? Like
right.
the creator Yahweh, he his name was that he existed, right? When people wanted to know if there was something else, he was like, "Yes, it's me. I exist. I'm here."
I am that I am.
Yeah, no, just before that, the word Lord.
Yeah.
That word is actually Hawa. So, and then Yah was added to it for he exists. So 7,000 times in the Bible it says my Lord, Lord. It's all the times that it's capitalized in the Bible, it's Yahweh. So I am that exists. And then when he sent his son, it was I am that exists and I save, Yahweh Shai. So they added the Shai to it. And then so it's like coding in the simulation. If you line up the codes that are redundantly found that he left us right from the Book of Enoch, we're still verifying that, me and you and everyone else right now. You know, he had the celestial orbits down.
Right.
Better than the Gregorian system by a mile. He can actually explain to you that there's a new moon. That means that there's no light in the moon. That's why we don't see it. There's no light. Right? That's
right.
When she is void of light, that gives no light. And that's another thing too. The eclipses are another simulation realization, because the shadows, we went out and live streamed it from Alto Pass, just north of Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, here in the United States. I'm drawing a blank at the state. Was it Illinois? Might have been Illinois. And the shadows were projecting through trees, through the branches, and then you could still see the eclipse on the ground.
Wow.
Like, we got it all posted on our channels, but I'd love for somebody to explain to me how that happens, right? We can't do that. Like, it's a projection.
Oh, it's because of gravity.
Yeah. Just stamp it with a big G. Everybody turn off. This podcast's over. Turn off your brains. Gravity showed up. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we can definitely verify that that stuff is real. And if you can understand that you're in a simulation and you can like vibrate with the creator's thoughts, the most amazing things can happen for us, man. That's why they don't want you to know about it, and they don't want anyone to know about it. That's why we're all censored.
So if they didn't want us to know about it, how did the Jesus narrative even survive, though? That's shocking.
That's his power. Because I think there has to be something in the simulation where if it's supposed to be free will, you can't have a satanic system come in and just take over everything, because then nobody will be saved. There's got to be some sort of a rule.
And that makes sense to me, because even like in Hollywood movies, like they show us bits and pieces of truth, You know, so I do feel like, I don't know if it's some type of universal law or something, but I do feel that they can they have limits. You know, like you can't just degrade truth to a point where someone can't still find the truth, or maybe they just don't have the power to do so. Like you said, maybe just the power of God in and of himself. So
Yeah, his spirit, his power, and that's why even our creator, when he came into the simulation, right? He was the son of God, right? He was the
right,
fleshly version. He told us that you'll do better things than I. Like, whoa, what does that
right,
even mean?
right, right,
He said, because I'll go to the Father and I'll do anything that you ask me in my name. So his name is what I believe is like the morphic resonance, the vibration of life. That I have a video on my channel that talks about how a human is formed from a single cell to a fully functioning human being. Like, has science ever really explained? Well, they have RNA and DNA, and they sort of act like it's a little computer thing, building a human, right?
right, right.
And that is so not true. If you do the research, you find out that it's actually resonance. Oh, someone's calling. It's actually resonance, right? So the resonance that so the light vibrates, and the vibration actually tells light what to do. So, like when a giraffe is born, it doesn't need to be told that it needs to eat grass and how to be a giraffe. It's all through the vibrations. They really don't want this stuff. So, like, knowing that you're in a simulation, another give awake souls, another point. It would be so easy to manifest. So, if we think we could start a business selling, we have ancient dirt here from, like, Jesus, Yahushua walked here and walked on this dirt, and there's like a chair that he built here, and we wanted to sell it. We could actually manifest that into this reality, and we could be super rich. So do you know, like, these are other things that knowing that you're in a simulation allows you abilities. They're sort of superhero like not to
Interesting.
not to try to take that term. I just feel in my spirit that there actually are superpowers, because the creator of the book, again, that we follow, we believe it's the book of life. It says that you can move mountains. Like, there's nothing that you cannot do. And I don't believe that was metaphorically. I don't know about you.
Right, right. Is that kind of like getting like turning water into wine? Is that like kind of like alchemy type of deal, or
no? I have to say, alchemy is like the satanic version. So that, like, the simulation inside of the simulation, you know how they're trying to make the VR world,
right,
and they're like having sex with dolls and robots and stuff. So I think that's like the anti simulation. It's gonna like become hell. People are just gonna get trapped in there.
Right.
So alchemy is like this anti simulation of what, because Yahushua didn't need anything. He did it with his willpower. It's like, Star Wars, the Force.
Right.
It's real, They were telling you, but they weren't going to tell you how to find it.
Right.
And,
right.
And Awake Souls, like, and he does, we do have great conversations. Like, would they tell us? How would they tell us?
I guess they would try to disguise it. So, because I feel like maybe they're obligated to tell us, but if they tell us in such a manner in which we don't believe it, then we're not going to pursue it, obviously. So,
totally. I'm thinking, I'm just gonna play you can hang out a bit longer. I'm gonna play a video really quick just to show people what I'm talking about with the manifesting. Just a short intermission. You could just mute and then I'll be back in. But yeah, I got to show you this video. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos. This one's called "I Can Fly, Yahushua."
all right, I'm about to mute.
Okay, cool. What a day. Event Skeptic here, and I'm checking in from Austin, Texas. I've traveled 2,883 kilometers in the seeking and the searching of truth and simulation realization. We will be filming the August 21st total solar eclipse, and we will be publishing it to our channels. You can catch all the new updates and videos that I'll be making. Is going to be still on Event Skeptic right here. And thank you to all 3,372 subscribers. Every one of you matters to me. Thank you. And I'm, calling out to all these channels on the side here, except for channels like Enslaved by Media. He's doing a great job. Flat Earth Photography we're going to get to. Like I said, this is just a quick update. But Mike has done some amazing work. Enslaved by Media is doing amazing work. Check out The Truth About Everything if you haven't. And then I've got backup channels because there has been strikes made against my channel. People that have been around here for a few years now know that they like to throw strikes at my channel. But yeah, so make sure you check out all the videos over here on Awake Souls. He is doing some of the best flat earth research, simulation realizations of anyone I've ever met or know. You got to check out his videos and stay tuned in. He's also got some key channels here. You got Steve Fletcher 222. You got Parable of the Vineyard, which is Adam, wonderful man. You got to check out his videos. He's got the Revelation 12 sign, the Son of Man. He's got it clocked down. He's got it explained in, I believe, now down to 3 minutes, and another 5-minute video, and then a bunch of other subtext style videos where he goes into depth about alignments, prophetic events that have been happening, like the 4 blood moons all fell on feast dates, and he's doing great work. Make sure you check out all these channels, especially Jason William Laufenberg. He is Awake Souls. And this is his vlog channel. I also have one. This is my vlog, Ronnie Hare's vlog. Check that out too. I'm going to be putting up some videos there soon. I've, like I said, just been getting used to the change of scenery. Way down here in the south, I have to admit the sky is 4 times the size here. Austin is amazing. Love the heat, love the people. So let's get into this flat earth photography bit. So this is a video that everyone needs to check out. Flat Earth 2017 Sunset Debunks Popular AE Flat Earth Map. Nikon Coolpix P900. So what we're going to be paying attention to here is a cloud. A cloud in this area here is going to appear. So it's going to appear, and as the cloud moves, you're going to notice some very interesting things. So let's have a look. So here it comes here. You can see the cloud starting to take form. And here we go. And as you see right there, the cloud is being split by the corner of the sun. So let's keep watching here. It's amazing. This is some great footage. So like I said, keep paying attention to this cloud right here. This is some of the most amazing proof that I have ever seen. That sun is just a projection. Look right there. As you can see the cloud, it morphs back together again. It's just amazing. This is undebunkable. This is pure truth. This is amazing. Mike from Flat Earth Photography, you get a huge bell ringer for this amazing clip. Thank you, brother. And please stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more. And we're going to not let up. We're going to push. We're going to seek. We're going to share. We're going to find everything that we can I'm tired of hearing people say that we'll never find the map or the model. Well, we found a working map and model. They never said that it was a simulation. Well, we're finding proof that it is a simulation. And you matter. Your likes, your shares, and your comments make a difference. If you don't have a camera, get out there and start looking at things. Start talking to people. If you got a camera, start filming it, publishing it to YouTube, sharing everything that you can in these last times. Nothing is more important than sharing the truth.
You saved me and the camera. Please tell me you got that on tape. You had to see. Get in, get in. Say it. I can fly.
I can fly.
I can fly.
Oh, come on.
Say it with your chest.
I can fly.
Say it,
Matt.
Shout it out.
I
You
can
fly.
So let us know. Then the truth is what you're after. You're definitely going to want to stick around. Because Event Skeptic and Awake Souls, we're getting super boosted. We're moving this up. We're pushing ahead. The evidence is so clear. We have been gifted with some of the most amazing footage. If you're here for more than just lies, if you're here for actually finding the truth in the depths of all the darkness and being the light that shines the brightest, make sure you please comment, get involved, and do it fast. Time is so short. Any moment could be the last. Every breath could be the last. That is why Awake Souls and I are moving forward. We will be filming. And we are back. If you know how to unmute, you can unmute. If you know how. I could probably unmute you. Or did you leave? Oh, maybe you left. Okay, I think we had another guest who was going to join. Let's just see here. I'll switch this over. So yeah, I truly believe that we can actually do the things in those videos. I think we've been blessed. I think we've been held back, and there is so much more that we're capable of doing. And if we lost almost vegan or part-time vegan, what a great call. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I look forward to seeing more on your channel and more from the conversation. I thought you were on point with so much. Please check out that Zeitgeist Refuted. It's a great Great video. Yeah, so maybe I'll just go back. Okay, yeah, take care, man. Thanks for being here. Let's see, I'll try Sean once. And then we'll move on. I'll get back to what I was thinking about. Gmail. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining tonight. You can do anything you want. You can be anything you want. Let's see if we can get Sean on. I don't know if he'll be able to make it. I'm calling him right now. Sean G out there. Pick up. I guess I'll go to the next video that I was going to play. Riverproof by Awake Souls. Let's just get the sound style back in. I'll leave that call open, Sean G. If you ever want to jump in, just jump in, please. Okay, let's go back to this. Advanced property. Okay, reset itself. Perfect. I'm just adjusting something here. Yep. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting into some more amazing ball debunk proofs. Back to what I had planned for this evening. Let's get right at this. Oh, not that one.
So what I'd like to do is share with you all my my favorite flat earth proof, and that is rivers. Rivers prove that we're on a flat earth and not on a ball, and I'm going to show you how that is. And one of the neat attributes about a river is that water flows downhill. So this is a rule that really can't be broken. Water does not flow uphill, it flows downhill. So what I'm showing you right here is a picture of a river mouth. So here we have, you know, a bay or ocean or sea, and here's the river flowing into it. And what we know, because water flows downhill, is that this water going through here is going downhill, and then at this point we're at sea level. So all this land behind here has to be above sea level. I'm going to show you how you can't have a river on a ball earth. So let's get into that. One of the first things that we need to do is get on the same page about curvature and what the correct formula is for calculating the curvature of the earth. So you can see here I've put in Earth Curve Calculator, and this one right here is my favorite calculator. It's very useful and it's very accurate, but I want to show you some misinformation that's out there. And under this, people ask how much is the Earth curve in a mile. This is where most people get stuck. It says the Earth has a radius of approximately 3965 miles. Using the Pythagorean theorem, that calculates to an average curvature of 7.98 inches per mile, or approximately 8 inches per mile. Well, that's only a partial truth because it's only correct for the first mile. After that, it becomes very wrong, and I want to show you that. I want to show you if what they were saying there, that the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile, and this is how that would look. So I have this marked out here, 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles. I go out 100 miles, and 8 inches per mile. So in the first 10 miles, that'd be 80 inches. And then 160 inches, 240 inches. You see how this creates a slope. Okay, 8 inches per mile creates a slope. And what you would actually be living on is a cone. If it's 8 inches per mile, you'd be living on a cone. All right? You see that? So this right here is the actual correct formula, and that is 8 inches per mile squared. And you'll see here that, so the first mile, 8 inches, second mile, 32. So the way you come up with that is 2 times 2 is 4, times 8 is 32. Now they have some decimal points in here. We just sort of rounded off. But the important thing is that the Earth with a radius of 3959 is what they say. So just to verify that, 3959 is what Google says the Earth's radius is. That radius from this point to this point, you have to have a calculation that's going to get you so that at this point you're back at your 3959. This has to equal itself right here. So you can sort of browse through here. You can see that 100 miles, you're at 6,669 feet already of curvature. Now I'm going to show you how that relates to the river, and the river that's right behind my house. So I live on a river. It's the Colorado River, not to be confused with the one that goes through the Grand Canyon out west. Texas has its own Colorado River, and it runs through Austin. But when they dam it up, they call it lakes. Austin's the last dam before it heads to the Gulf Coast, and so it's a river the rest of the way. And I live on that. When I first heard about flat Earth, I watched a few videos and sort of got comprehension of what the model was, and it was blowing my mind. So I stepped away from the internet and did some praying and went inside and was asking God for some insight as to whether or not this was true or not. Well, about that time we had a flood, and I found out at that time that I live 400 feet above sea level. And because of the flat Earth research that I had done, well, it started to, that's where this whole river proof came into mind. So I live around here, and the Colorado River goes, this is where it empties into the coast down here. And so let's measure this real quick. We've got about 143 miles. So that is a straight shot line right there. We know that the river is going to twist and turn. Its course is going to be much longer. But we have 143 direct miles from where I'm at to the coast. And I sit at 400 feet above sea level. So to help you visualize this, I've got a model for us to look at. This model is relatively to scale. To give you an idea, the Earth's diameter, according to Google, is 7,917 miles, and this is scaled so that it's 7,917 feet. So what I've done is just switched miles to feet, and so this is relatively where the Colorado River is entering the Gulf Coast right here. I drew this circle right here, 143 feet, which with the scaling is 143 miles. This works out pretty accurately. Austin's relatively in this area over here. And what you'll see here is that if we're on a ball, there has to be curvature everywhere. And what I did is I aligned, this vertical axis right through where it enters there. So what you'll see here is that on a ball, you're going to have this curvature. You're always going to be standing at the highest point on the ball. That's how we orient ourselves. We never picture ourselves standing sideways or upside down. We always picture ourselves standing straight up. So this would be a person standing right here where the river mouth enters the Gulf, and then looking back towards my house right here. The earth has to curve down. I mean, ball earthers say that a ship going out to sea is going to go over the curvature of the earth, right? So same is true on land. The land's got to curve down. If we're on a ball, there's got to be curved somewhere. So this helps you see 143 miles, you're going to have this curvature. So let me show you where this number comes from. So those numbers come from here. So we're back at the Earth Curve Calculator. We're going to check this out. We're going to set our eye height to 0 because we're looking at this from where the water of the river enters the Gulf, right down there at sea level. And the distance from the mouth of the river to my house in a straight line is 143 miles. So what that gives us is 13,632 feet of curvature. So H1 is right here, H1. So this is right at sea level, and if the earth is a ball and it curves, this distance, H1 at 143 miles, is 13,632 feet. So here I made a cross section of the earth. You'll see here, this is, sea level around the earth. And zoom in here. I made some land. So you've got your water, then the land that sticks out above the water, that would be your distance above sea level. This is the datum line. So this is sea level all the way across here. Here's the Rocky Mountains. So this is your cross section of land. Your land sticking out above water. Well, if you're standing at the mouth of the river, where the river enters the sea or the Gulf or the ocean, whatever it enters, and you're looking back towards my house, 143 miles, there's the 13,632. So I'm 400 feet above sea level. Zoom in here. So here's the datum line. Come up here 400 feet. That would be my house right here. It means that my house is 13,232 feet below the coast. I mean, think about that. They say ships moving out to sea right here, they say that they go over the curve. Looking back over the land's got a curve down too. We always orient ourselves so that we're standing vertically perpendicular to the ground, on top of the ground here. So looking back towards my house, 143 miles, the river is 13,232 feet below my feet at the coast. Okay, that means the river has to flow uphill, almost the height of the tallest mountain in the United States. It's got to flow up that to where I'm at. That's not what happens. That's not reality. We don't live on a ball. So here's the way it really is. The oceans are completely flat all the way across the whole earth. We have land masses that stick out of the water, and that's measured in feet above sea level. And so if we come over here to the coast, we've got our person standing by the river mouth where it would flow into the Gulf. My house is 143 miles away from the coast right there. The house is 400 feet above sea level. And what that means is that the river drops 2.8 feet average per mile from my house to the coast, and that's typical of a slow-moving river. Rivers, they have, you know, anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of drop in a mile. Become, you know, there's rapids, and they're fast flowing, and those are the ones that people go whitewater rafting on. But just nice smooth flowing river under 3 feet is typical. So the river is just coming downhill, water runs downhill. We're not on a ball, it's just coming down here, and it meets the coast at sea level. Now the other thing I want to do is show you my second favorite proof for the earth being flat, and that is the horizon being at eye level. Well, I've got this set up here with this model. This is a perfect time to show you. I'm just going to show you that with this tool right here, I adjust the angle of the model right here. So you can see the horizon. You got the blue up here, the sky, the green, the land. This is an infinite flat plane that we're seeing in SketchUp here. The green and the blue, and that's the horizon line. You can see here that right now the horizon is relatively flat to the earth there, and that now with the hand, I'm no longer tilting the plane up and down, but I'm moving the earth. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get us positioned on top of the earth, like we all, you know, consider us to be standing on top, never standing upside down or anything like that. Let's get that horizon right at eye level. There we go. So I'm going to zoom in here like we're standing at the river mouth. Grab the hand. Now picture yourself in a hot air balloon at that river mouth, and you're gonna ascend upwards. So here I'm going to take the hand. Ooh, look at what happens. As you rise on a ball, the horizon of a ball would always go down below you. Okay? Now this back here, this is the infinite flat plane. That's not moving. That's standing still. On a ball, the ball all around you, as you go up, the horizon would go down. Doesn't matter how much you go up, any amount that you go up, the horizon would go down. It would always be lower. The higher you go, you'd have to look down and down and down. On a flat plane, as you go up, that horizon line always stays the same. This right here, this is modeling that shows how this works. The horizon goes down on a ball, not on a flat plane, because this flat here always extends off into the distance, and that's what we see on the earth that we're on.
Okay, I am going to keep this going. I'd just like to repeat that we are ready for a debate. I believe Jed Skeptic accepted a debate. This would be great. Just want to go over a couple things here. So everybody knows the curvature of Earth, how this river here flows, how basically everything, you know, falls away from you. Right? So now we've shown you that the horizon always drops. Always drops. Okay? When you're rising above a ball, it's going to drop down. Okay? This is really simple, Globers and academics alike. So, I'm not going to leave this. I don't know what this guy is. Block. That's cool if Jed's an atheist. So I want to bring up Math Powerland, everybody. This guy here. I found his work first in the Flat Earth. And I liked it. I liked his presentations. I liked his truth-seeking. I liked his energy. But since then, it's gone down and down and down. And I don't know if he's trying to mess things up or if he's getting stage fright. I don't know. This game is hard. Truth-seeking is not easy. But his whole, he wants to cross Antarctica bit. Let me show you guys. In our reality, you can cross it. Okay? So let me be the first to call this out right now. No, Math. I do not accept your movement. You're not in a movement. You're in a containment. And you will be a shill until you prove otherwise. You haven't promoted the 3 mile water level test. You haven't commented or ever got involved in anything that Jason from Awake Souls and I have done. So you are a shill. And we can show you that you can cross Antarctica, Matt. It's possible. Okay? Quit the crap. We know you're trying to fool the people. Your Masonic tricks. I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm going to move past that. Okay, I wanted to go back. There was another video in the queue.
So I'm going to offer proof to you, definitive proof, that we're not on a spinning ball, that the flat earth models that we've been presented with are incorrect, and that the reality that you consider to be real is a simulation. And it's all going to hinge around the equinox. So I'm showing you right here from Google. I did a search for equinox definition, and this is the first thing that pops up right here. It says the time or date twice each year at which the sun crosses the celestial equator when day and night are of equal length, about September 22nd and March 20th. Now if we go here to a definition at dictionary.com, it says the time when the sun crosses the plane of the Earth's equator, making night and day of approximately equal length all over the Earth, occurring about March 21st and September 22nd. So it says all over the Earth. That's not possible. So let's take a look here at the model, the ball model of how this all transpires. And you can see here the September 22nd autumnal equinox. So the sun's at that 23 point, I've heard 4, but here it has 5 degree tilt. And you've got your summer solstice, your winter solstice, spring equinox, and we are coming up on the autumn equinox. Now if you take a look at this ball here, they're saying that it's the same length day all over the Earth. Now what's supposed to be happening is that the equator is lined up directly with the sun. That's what we've all been taught. And you can clearly see here that the length of the day at the equator right here has got to be much longer on a ball than it is for a place like Anchorage, Alaska up here. I mean, this shadow right here shows that as the Earth spins here, that for like an Anchorage, Alaska, there would be a much shorter day than for something like a Quito, Ecuador, where it has this full revolution around the equator right here. So we know right away that the definition that we are given of this equal length all over the earth occurring at the same time is not possible. That is a lie. Now, for those of you that have been following my channel, you'll know that I have been paying attention to where the sun sets. My house faces west, pretty much, and I get great sunsets here. Back just before the summer solstice, May 29th, I put out this video, sun north of 30 degrees north latitude. This is an iPhone, and I have the compass app up, and the phone is pointing directly west. And you can see that the sun is north of that. So this is something I've been paying attention to. And then also recently, September 15th, I put out this video about flat earth daylight discrepancies, showing how the days are longer in Austin, Texas than San Juan, Puerto Rico. So this has got me paying attention to what websites like timeanddate.com show as far as the angle that the sun is coming up and how long the day is. So I've been doing a lot of praying, really intense prayers to the Creator, asking for understanding as to what is taking place, what is reality, what is the truth. And this morning, while I was filming an almost full moon just disappear, which I'll put the footage at the end of this video, it came to me what I should check, and it had to do with the equinox. And so with the equinox coming up, that means that the equator should be directly aligned with the sun. And from the other videos, I understood day length and the angle of the sun. And so I decided to start checking cities. And so here is a Google search for cities on the equator. And you can see that this answer right here, which cities are divided by the equator. This city right here in Indonesia appears to be the only city that is actually in both hemispheres. And a close second is Quito, Ecuador. So let's check out this city in Indonesia. So here it is, and this is timeanddate.com. We're going to go down here, and with the autumn equinox, what we're looking for is these angles as far as where the sun rises and where the sun sets. And you can see that around here at the 22nd, 23rd, the sun is rising directly east, 90 degrees, and setting directly west, 270 degrees. Now this time of 12 hours and 6 minutes is a little interesting. We can look into that a little bit later. Another important thing for this city on the equator is that at solar noon, right here, the angle. So it's going to be 90 degrees directly overhead right around this time here. So that's 22nd and 23rd. In between here is when it's going to be 90 degrees directly overhead at solar noon. So what I did next was start checking the extremes. So here we're back at Google, and the search is farthest city north in the world. And if you look through here, you'll see that this Longyearbyen, Norway, is considered to be the northernmost town of over 1,000 people. So here's time and date, Longyearbyen, Norway. You can see where that's located over here. And we're going to scroll down here. And you'll see that around here at the 24th, the sun is going to be rising just about 90 degrees east and setting 270 degrees west. This is also around the time that the daylight is equal. 12 hours day, 12 hours night. So it's rising at 90 degrees, setting at 270 degrees. Now let's check our southernmost extreme. So we're back at Google. The search is farthest south city in the world. And we have this Ushuaia pronunciation. I'm probably cremating. But we come here to timeanddate.com again. Here's that city in Argentina. You can see on a map where it's located. Let's come down here and check. And right here around the 20th, we've got sunrise 90 degrees east and sunset 270 degrees west. And once again, this falls at the point where the day length is equal. 12 hours daylight, 12 hours night. So already we can see here that around this time, the equinox, we've got the sun rising 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west, both at the farthernmost city, the equator, and the southernmost city, all at the same time. Now I'm partial to the United States because that's where I live. So let's check out northernmost part and southernmost part of the United States. You can see here that if you exclude Alaska and Hawaii, the answers are these. I'm just going to include Alaska for the northmost part. It's part of the continental North American continent. So we got Barrow, Alaska. Let's check it out. Here's Barrow, Alaska. You can see on the map where it's located. Scroll down here. And you can see that right in here, around the 22nd, 23rd, that you're going to have sunrise 90 degrees east and sunset 270 degrees west. Now, this is also right around the time that the length of day is going to be equal. 12 hours daylight, 12 hours nighttime. Let's check out the southmost city in the United States. Here's Google. Here's the search that I did. And from Wikipedia, you can see that the southernmost point buoy is an anchored concrete buoy in Key West, Florida, making one of the extreme points of the United States. Okay. Key West, Florida. Let's scroll down. Here's Key West. You can see. And right here at the 22nd, you can see that the sun is rising 90 degrees at east and setting 270 degrees west. Now this is right around the time where the day is 12 hours daylight, 12 hours nighttime. What I'd like to do now is just look up some key cities in real time live with you right now. Show you that these are not, manipulated or changed charts. They haven't been photoshopped. I'm just pulling them up live from the internet. So here is Google Maps, and we've already done the extreme far north, far south cities. We've done city on the equator. So let's go to South Africa here, and let's check out Cape Town. Going to timeanddate.com, and let's scroll down here, and you'll see around the 20th here, the sun is going to sun is going to rise 90 degrees east, and it's going to set 270 degrees west, and this is around the time that the day is equal day and night. Let's go back to the map here. Pick another city. Let's check out Sydney, Australia. timeanddate.com. Scroll down here. And the sun's gonna rise 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west, right around the same time that the day is equal day and night. Go back to the map here. Where should we go? Let's check out Moscow. There's Moscow. We're going to go to timeanddate.com. Right around here, the sun is going to rise 90 degrees east. It's going to set 270 degrees west. And this is right around the time that it's equal day and night. Let's check out London, England. And this is right around the time that it's equal day and night. Let's check out London, England. timeanddate.com. Right around here, we are going to have the sun rising 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west. This is about the time that we're going to have equal day and night. Where should we check now? Let's do Beijing. timeanddate.com. Scroll down here. And right around here we have the sun rising 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west at the time that we're going to have equal day and night. Are you starting to get the picture that it does not matter where you are in the world whatsoever? That at the equinox, the sun's going to rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west, and it's going to be equal day and night. That it does not matter if you're in the north, if you're in the south, anywhere you are, the sun is going to rise 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west. That is not possible on a globe. Okay? You cannot be at a northernmost city and have the same length of day as a city on the equator at the equinox. You can't. Look at this. Let's just spin this around on a ball. It's a shorter day up north. Now let's put it on a tilt, okay? Because the equator, we know, runs through Ecuador right here. The day cannot be the same length up here as it is right here. It's impossible. There's just less surface area of a ball Earth when it rotates. It has to be shorter. Okay? Same down here. So what I want to reiterate is that by looking at the direction that the sun rises and sun sets on sites like timeanddate.com, and there's many of them like that, it's absolute definitive proof that we're not on a ball. Okay, you cannot have the sun set and sunrise at 270 degrees and 90 degrees for cities in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere at the same time. Okay, the ball model is proved wrong 100% by this information. At the same time, the flat earth model that we've been provided so far, you take a look at this. Here's a flat earth model, and you have the equator right here, and you have the tropics right here. This cannot be correct either. You cannot have the sunrise if you're here in Alaska at 270 degrees west, or sunset at 270 degrees west, sunrise at 90 degrees east. At the same time, cities in the southern hemisphere, that is impossible. So how is it that everybody on Earth, come the equinox, will be able to see the sun rise in the east, 90 degrees east, and set in the west, 270 degrees west? It's not possible on a ball. It's not possible on the flat Earth AE map. But it is possible in a simulation. So just take a look here. Movies like The Matrix have given us clues as to how this can be possible. You scroll down here a little bit. I find this interesting. My answer, The Matrix. This is a neurological simulation. We're all gamers, souls inside of bodies. Body equals computer hardware, soul equals operating system software. Our experience, that of a user or simmer. So the explanation for how the sun can rise in the east and set in the west for all of us at the equinox is that they are being rendered for us where we are. For where we are located at the equinox, they are being rendered. We are in a simulation. So what next? Right here, I want to show you my YouTube channel is not monetized, and I'm never going to monetize it. I'm not interested in money. What I want you to do is download my video. I'm going to set the licensing to Creative Commons, which means that I'm not holding any rights, any copyrights to it whatsoever. I want you to download it, I want you to repost it, and I want you to make your own videos. Just like I did back here with this sun north of 30 degrees north latitude. I'm going to play this for you, and I'm going to ask you to look at when the equinox is for your location, and I want you to go out and do this. So real quickly, we're at 30 degrees north, about 410 feet above sea level here. I'm just going to show you where I get this thing lined up, right with west. So I'm just going to shake it out a few times so we get it as reliable answer we can. Pointing west. There's the sun. The sun is north of us. In Austin, 30 degrees north.
The sun is definitely sitting north. 30 degrees.
That's it. I just want you to go out, have a compass, use your phone, something, and I want you to record where the sun sets at the equinox. Everywhere across the planet. People in the northern hemisphere, people in the southern hemisphere. I want everybody to realize that no matter where you are on the planet, the sun at the equinox is going to be setting at 270 degrees west. Once you realize this, you are going to know that you're not on a ball, that the flat earth model that we've been presented with is incorrect, and that we are participating in a simulation. So while this time-lapse footage that I recorded this morning, September 18th, 2016 plays, I want to just ask you one more time to please, on the equinox, make a video recording where the sun rose, what degree angle, where it's set, the degree angle. Make that video, post it, share the link with me. I'm going to be making future videos regarding this simulation topic and my understanding of it. So hit subscribe as well. But please share this video, please get this out to everyone you can right now. Thank you.
We're just going to keep this going a little bit longer tonight. Super thank you for everyone for being here. And this is some amazing Ball Earth destruction simulation works tutorial. Make sure you sign up, get involved, hit that subscription button over on Awake Souls channel. Heck, hit it here on Event Skeptic too. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell as well and start manifesting your own reality and coming into what it is that you know to be and what you're here to do. Because we're going to be right here for all you liars and deceivers. We might be calm, we might be angry, we will be with the truth. Always in fair use. Math Powerland's a shill. You don't live on a spinning ball. You live on a stationary plane. And we've proven it over and over and over again.
So what I want to start by doing is showing you that YouTube is censoring comments, and I'll give you proof of that right here. This is the YouTube view. You know, here's the video I just posted. Definitive proof we're not on a ball. Flat Earth maps. You know, the image that I used. I'm going to show you where I got that from. You know, from Google, I typed in equinox. I went to images. It's the second image that comes up. Let's take a better look at this. This is the ball model. All right, this is the accepted ball model. Winter solstice, the summer solstice. Autumn equinox, the spring equinox. We're coming up on the autumn equinox. So what's this popular?
Hello everyone, Jason here, or Awake Souls, and I sort of wanted to talk to you personally because I really need your help. I need the help of my subscribers, anybody that watches this video, because I am being censored, and I can show you that real quickly. The part 5 video that I put out is really important information because the AE flat earth model where the sun and moons circle around over a map. It doesn't matter which map it is. It could be the Mercator or the Gleasons, any map. But the sun and moon circling around doesn't work, and that's what my part 5 video was about. This is going to be a little bit of a follow-up because I've discovered something that it's even more definitive proof. And it's really important that we get this information out there because the AE flat earth model is a red herring. We were deceived into believing that we're on a ball, and then we were given that AE flat earth model, and that's not correct either. And I'm convinced that it was on purpose, and that it's going to be used to discredit flat earthers, the red herring, because this proof is really, really simple. So it wouldn't take anything, for the mass media to just put this proof out there, and it would turn all the people that haven't considered flat earth yet off, because it proves that the flat earth model doesn't work. So we need to figure out what that is. I'm working on it. I need your help. But this video right here is really important. Please pay attention.
So since this part 5 popular flat earth model is disinfo video has been up, I've been waiting for somebody to try to debunk it. And really nobody has, but I finally got a comment where somebody suggested that the distance that we see to the horizon just isn't far enough for us to see that the sun's not actually rising 90 degrees east and setting 270 degrees west. Well, my response to that is that regardless of how far the sun is away, if it's 93 million miles or if it's 10 miles, if you're holding a compass, the angle that the sun comes up at is the angle that the sun comes up at, regardless of what distance it is. And it's the angle that we're measuring. But while I was considering this, I decided to check and see what's happening in the southern hemisphere right now as far as the angle of the sunrise and sunset. And this is awesome. So the first place I checked is Quito, Ecuador, because we're after the equinox. I wanted to see what the sunrise and sunset angles were for, a city that's at the equator, but now the sun is supposed to be south of the equator, right? So if you take a look here, sun's rising at 98 degrees east and setting at 262 degrees west. So these are both south of east and west. Well, that doesn't work on the flat earth AE map at all, not with the sun circling. We'll take a look at that in just a second. And then I decided to see, well, what's it going to be at the most extreme point, the winter solstice. So let's go to December 21st. And here we are, the sun rising at 113 degrees and setting at 247 degrees. So then I went and checked for our most southerly city, the city in Argentina here. And at the winter solstice, the sun is rising 135 degrees and setting 225 degrees. Now what's interesting here is even into January, these angles become more extreme. Something to figure out. And what about Australia? Let's check out Sydney. So here we are, October 13th, and the sun is rising 100 degrees, setting 260 degrees. Now these are large populated areas where we might know somebody there. This is verifiable information that the angle of the sunrise, the angle of the sunset. So here's the model that I used in the part 5 video, and I had taken my research as far as the equinox. The sun rises 90 degrees east, sets 270 degrees west, everywhere on Earth, and then I had showed how a compass placed at the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, the Tropic of Capricorn, how if the sun and moon are moving in circular paths here, that they're always going to rise north of east and set north of west. No matter where you are, anywhere on this map, sun's always going to, rise north of true east and north of true west. Well, now let's take a look at if we extend our research past the equinox towards the winter solstice and take a look at what's going on in the so-called southern hemisphere. Let's see what happens. So I modeled up Quito, and you can see here the sunrise of 113 degrees east, 247 degrees west, and solar noon, it's at 66.8 degrees. You take a look here, person standing in Quito holding a compass where north is pointing north like this on this map, south here, the sun is rising 113 degrees, that is south of east, considerably south of east. 247 degrees is considerably south of west. Take a look at that. This doesn't have anything to do with distance to the horizon. When you're looking at a compass, that's where the sun's rising and that's where the sun's setting. Now let's take a look even farther south at that city in Argentina. Sun's rising 135 degrees southeast and setting 225 degrees southwest. And the solar noon is at 58.6 degrees. Person standing down there with a compass is going to see the sun rise here, come up to solar noon here, come back down for a sunset over here. Look at that. The sun and moon are traveling in circles. They're following these lines. You have a sunrise like this and a sunset like that. That doesn't work at all. Zilch. Nada. Of course, we need to verify with people that live in the so-called southern hemisphere, people that live in Australia, where they see the sunrise. But if it's anything like what time and date is showing, it's rising south of east and setting south of west. Now let's take a quick look here at what the winter solstice is going to be in Sydney. Yeah, 119 degrees and setting 241 degrees. So what am I asking you to do? Well, definitely share and repost the video, but also go to all the Flat Earth channels that are promoting the AE, equidistant, sun and moon traveling in circles model, and make comments, link to this video, and make them debunk it before they continue to promote that model. Until they debunk it, they've got to stop using that model. So I had a little extra time on my hands, and I wanted to see what the new Flat Earth material was, and I decided to do a search for Flat Earth. And what I do is I change the filter to sort by upload date. And I was scrolling through here, and one of the things that I noticed is that this part 5 that I just uploaded, that has Flat Earth in the title. So it's got Flat Earth. I'm doing a search for Flat Earth by upload date. So I speed up the scrolling through the search results here to save time. But I scroll all the way for a full week, and the video didn't show up at all, even though it had Flat Earth in the title. So here's a list of 10 things on how to know you're not on a ball, even though the sun, moon, and stars are patterned after us being on a ball. I'm not going to go into a description of each one of these things for the sake of time. These are all things that you can research on your own. Number 1, there is no curvature. Number 2, the horizon always rises to the eye of the observer. Number 3, there is no parallax. Number 4, you feel no motion. Number 5, gyroscopes. Number 6, everything NASA has done has been a hoax. Number 7, the moon is semi-transparent and the stars have been filmed within the circle of it. Number 8, water always seeks level. Number 9, crepuscular rays. And finally, last but most important, the Bible says Earth is fixed and immovable, motionless.
So, my channel is not monetized, nor will it ever be. This isn't about view counts for me or the amount of subscribers that I have. It's about trying to reveal the truth. And I do make mistakes, and I've admitted it and made correction videos. But this right here is really, really solid stuff. The part 5 video by itself is all the evidence that you need to know that the AE flat earth model doesn't work. Now with the information that we've covered now, I mean, it's ridiculous that we even fell for the AE flat earth model that we were presented. It's the point is, we were deceived into thinking that we were on a ball. And let's not be deceived again. Let's put an end to this AE flat earth model and look for what is real. I need your help. Spread this. Get it to everyone you can. Present it to flat earth channels. Get their responses. Make them respond to it. Debunk it. Prove it wrong. If they can't debunk it, then they need to stop using the model that they've been presenting.
Sorry, everybody. So like I was saying, all you truth seekers, you guys go out there and have a great week. Don't stop seeking for truth. Work together. And make sure you come back to Event Skeptic and Awake Souls. We're giving you truth. We're not mixing it with lies. And you live in a simulation. And the creator of the Bible controls everything. So read your Bibles. Stay involved. Thanks for showing up tonight. Stay loving. God bless America. If your name's Lewis Hackett, you better figure out the real reason you're here and why you're living on Earth, Lewis. You better wake up. You heard it from me. I'll be judged. Again, thank you for joining us. This has been November 7th, 2017. Your host, Ronnie Harris of Event Skeptic, and Awake Souls, Jason Laufenberg. Get in touch with us for all real truths, flat earth proofs, and the future is now. You live in a simulation, and we will redundantly prove it to you until we're gone. Peace out, everyone. God bless America.